Okay, love, peace and blessings to you guys wherever you are. Now, a little bit more about my life in the past year. Now, basically I went through a lot. I came out here 420, was staying with family members, my dad, till I could get a house. I got a job right away working at Burger King down in Patterson, and I was going through the motions. Next thing I know, I started finding out that my dad was a very abusive man. He basically, liked to cause pain to people that were younger than him, especially my son. One day I was sitting in the room with him, and he hit my son in the head with a lighter in front of his friend, and my son started crying. Now, I was like, what? So I picked up my son and hugged him, and then he was like, oh no, I'm sorry, I was just joking. He called my son over. My son went over to him reluctantly, and then he pushed him down and started laughing. So I got up in his face about it in front of the whole family. His friend was so disgusted with it, his friend named Slow, that he left the house. He said that's not cool to him and got up and left the house, and he's like, no, come on, man. So anyway, after I got up in his face about it with the family, they did not say one word to him. Whole family was there, his mother, his sister, all of that, his wife. They didn't say not one word to him. Now, to me, that is really, really bad, because they have my kids right now. Anyway, I continued working, staying there for a while, until one night I get a call to come off work because he's like, my son had pooed himself. Now, my son at the time was 3. And I was like, well, can't you deal with it? I'm at work. He's like, no, my grandma, his mother, was in hospital at the time, my dad's mother. And his wife was at work. So it was just him in the house, him and my child. So I've left, I've gone off work because he acted like it was urgent. I've got there, and there was shit all over the floor in the bathroom, and my son was cowering in the corner, naked, with his shoulder busted open and bleeding. He's still got a scar on his shoulder to this day. So I've got up in his face about it because he was sleeping on a couch when I got there. Even though it didn't take me less than 10 minutes to get to the house, he was sleeping on the couch, or acting like he was asleep, with a bottle of liquor out, and when he woke up his eyes were glazed over like he had been smoking crack again. So I basically got up in his face because I've never smoked crack in my life or been on that type of drug, so I was like really upset about it. So I've gotten up in his face, and then he asked me to leave his house. Now, I had the whole conversation recorded. He put me out with my 3-year-old child at about 2 in the morning. I didn't know no one, I had nowhere to go. So I've left. There was a girl called Brittany round the corner, and I went to her house. Now, my partner knew about it, and it just so happened this girl was a girl that he had been giving drugs to basically have sexual intercourse with, and this girl was young enough to be his daughter. So I find that out. She tells me about his dirty little secret, and I told him about it because he knew I knew her, but he was acting very, very, very strange and like weird when she started talking to me when she let me stay at her house. Now, she, bless her, ended up falling in love with me because I cured her of her drug addiction, and basically she got mad because I had to leave, and I told her I was in love with my child's mother. Her name was Brittany, and I left hers because she put me out. I basically had my child and I had to leave, and at the time I didn't have nowhere to go. My son's mother, the one who has a daughter with me, she was actually at the time helping me financially, stay at hotels and all of that, because I had bled through all of the money I had from work just looking after my son. Now, this was in like from the time period of summer to around September 2021. So I left, you know, and I actually was going through a lot at the time because one of my other baby mothers had contacted me and asked me to look after my other son. So I had my two sons while I was basically working, staying with one of my cousins and friends, and basically working, like doing tree trimming, all of that type of stuff. And I left and met my son's mum, my current son's mum, that flew in basically in September. So we're together out here, everything's going well. But I got injured at work. And I got injured right away really badly, a back injury. And after that, things started going downhill because I was going through a lot of pain. I was at home looking after my children. Even my other son was staying with me for a while, but I was maintaining, even though I didn't have no money and everything, I was maintaining. Still teaching my children, still running my online business. And basically my business wasn't generating money, but it was basically a hobby of mine that I did that had a lot of fans worldwide that would actually listen to me on social media and stuff like that and be inspired by what I was going through and what I'd be telling them. Now, my baby mother and me, we were out one day and we went into a shop together, and she ended up getting a job around December. And it's funny, the woman said I was blessed. She was a nice lady. And he's like, there's something special about you, you're blessed. And she gave my baby's mother the job. So I was happy. I was really happy for her. And I was still staying at home looking after my kids and recovering, trying to recover from my back injury and waiting until I had surgery. Now, basically, a lot of stuff started going downhill because I was waiting for so long that basically my finances started to catch up to me. I started getting deeper and deeper into financial problems, but my partner was still helping me. I was working for FedEx. And during that time period, you know, I called up my dad because me and my partner, unfortunately, broke up. And I was telling him, I apologize for what we've been through. I'm going through this. Could he help me out? And he was like, no, like, I don't care. Deal with your own problems. I was like, okay, cool. So I was dealing with my problems. I just called him up to say, I apologize, you know, to you and your wife for actually telling the truth and exposing you for what you did. Now, after that, my partner ended up calling him up a couple months after, and he was quick to jump in and act like a good guy. Came up to the house. Now, I knew something weird was going on with him from that moment. And he took my kids out of my house at a very, 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 very special moment when I told him I didn't want to give my kids over to him in his custody. And he tried to make my partner trust him like he was a really good guy. But little did she know what he was trying to do, which was take my kids away from me to try and raise them like the kids he never raised in real life, because he felt a lot of guilt because he didn't get to raise us because he was on crack, and I could see his problems, and I used to confront him about his problems all the time. So anyway, he's taken my children, gone down there with his partner and with my partner and my kids. And then all of a sudden, all this crazy stuff started happening. Now, during that time period, I put my phone in a bag that he had before he left, but he didn't know. And my partner definitely didn't know. And when he's got down there, I noticed people were hacking my phone, hacking all these weird situations were going on my social media. Now, I warned her about it, but because he was hiding and using other people through my phone to hack my social media and make it look a certain way, like, I knew something was going on, you know? And I told her to be careful because he liked to catch women in vulnerable moments in their life, get them to feel relaxed around him like they could trust him, and then he would literally drug and rape them. Now, basically, not only did he do that to Brittany, a girl who was young enough to do that, to be his daughter, he did that to other women too. He did that to other women after that as well, you know. And the funny thing is, like, every female that I was talking to on my phone, like, he started hacking and going through their stuff. Now, what I noticed as well is, because I still go back to the old place where I was staying, mail started popping up in my mail with his name and people's names on it. I'll get back to that later, but specifically with the name Charles Bob Jernigan Jr. So I was like, well, how is he ordering stuff to my house? Because I went through an incident where I basically got shot in the head and lost my house. This was from around July this year. And, you know, I had to go to hospital and everything. And when I got out, I was lucky enough a couple months ago, you know, is when it happened. I was lucky enough to basically go to the house, like, literally mid-October. So I've gone there and been checking my mail at my old address. I see his name pop up, and I kind of found out through different means and different people that basically they believe that he was doing fraud at the house in my name, because when I signed the lease, it was signed like without having my full name on it. Now, he's got the same name as me, that's what's tricky, but our like surnames are totally different. Mine is kind of a double-barreled name, where his is like just my name but then Junior after it. Now, anyway, I'm sorry about this, guys, but it just brings it all back because this is still happening now. I started going through a lot more stuff, you know, and God's just telling me during all of this, it will be all right, it will be all right, it will be all right. So I decided to call him the other day, and that's what you guys hear on my page, where I'm arguing with him about my kids. Now, he was trying to go around and tell people that I was crazy and stuff, but I do believe he actually somehow had set it up to where I literally got shot a couple months ago. And he tried to do it through various means, you know. And the thing that he didn't realize is when God is truly with you because you live for truth, no weapons formed against you shall prosper. And it goes to show, you know, because he still can't show his face around me. Not by himself. He'd have to literally in person how he looks. He'd have to literally try to either be around the family or be away from me. Now, the devil tries to act real funny and he tempts people. And that's what I tried to tell him. Fight your inner demons because demons work for the devil. And if you succumb to them by doing crack cocaine and other stuff and stuff that fucks your life up, holding dirty secrets, which I told him a long time ago, it's going to mess you up, you know? And this is the type of guy that sat there and told me that he literally gave drugs to my mother, put crack cocaine in one of her blunts, gave it to her to smoke on their first date, and when she started like tripping out and whatever, he forcefully had sex with her. And this is why my mother kept me away from him. But I didn't understand. She told me that he was just a bad, disgusting person. You know? And my mother passed away recently. You know? And this guy is so disgusting, he hacked my phone and pretended to even be my mother. He hacked my business website through my partner's, basically, my ex-partner's Google mails that were hooked up to there also, and started trying to impersonate her and other people around. Good thing that I basically know when people are hacking me, and I actually know what's going on because the phone I gave him, he literally took the chip out, put another chip in, and it was something that is an easy, simple trick to do, but he doesn't really cover his tracks very well. He's a very sloppy individual, you know? He's even still trying to do it to this day. Now, my advice would be to anybody who goes through stuff like that, just basically keep God with you. Because no matter what people try to do to you who are influenced by the devil or Satan's demons or anything like that, to the point they want to do that to their own family member, they will get theirs, because the devil likes to trick people into feeling that they're going to be fine and they're going to be okay, but at the end of the day, they're not going to be. They will die. They'll die in sin, you know, and that's just the way it goes. Anyway, have a blessed day, people.